Good evening and welcome on down to Treeby Sports Park for tonight's big game of the week between the Fremantle Roosters and South Perth. I'm joined as always by Donnie Bell. A cold one this evening down in the heart of South Perth, and we are about to get into a big one.
Well, yeah, it's going to be a big game. I think it's a massive game, particularly for the South Perth Lions. They haven't been able to find a win so far this year. They've been struggling to get across the line. They need to get their attack together tonight because they're up against a pretty sharp team in the Roosters.
Yeah, they've had a few outs, have South Perth, over the coming 12 hours. A few outs makes their bench a little bit shorter. They've got one in Charlotte Scott, who we're keen to take a look at tonight. I don't think I've seen much of her in the past seasons coming by. The Fremantle Roosters have plenty on the list for this evening. Before that, we'll get into the ladder and break down what's in front of us between these two teams, as we see the Fremantle Roosters just warming up in the background. Ellenbrook lay on top with Fremantle, 2 wins apiece. Then Joondalup and Rockingham, 1-1, and South Perth and North Beach not featuring yet in the points column, but sure to come soon. Donnie, a 2-0 side comes against a 1-1 side. Sorry, 0-2 side, but it's closer than you think.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the way that the common opponents and Rockingham Sharks. They both played. Freo got a win 22-18. It was 18-4 that South Perth lost. So there's probably not too much between them. Freo definitely going as favourites, and this is how they line up. Kiani Atwell at fullback, Molly Wallace and Brittany Price on the wings, Donalda Pico and Nina Retene in the centres, Dallas Tinney and Janaea Paul in the halves, Cheyenne Carney and Kyra Talmia up front. Keisha Jetta is the number 9. Tailavi Frost Kelamete and Hayley Hetta in the second row, and Ainsley Henry locks the scrum. Their bench, Stacey Moorish, Rhiannon Sharp, Emily Weldon, Alkira Dane, Rebecca Mann and Ashley Romero.
Over into South Perth now, and I'll skip through the ones that have been scratched from tonight. So at number 1, Veronica Alex, Zara Somali, Georgia Bett, Labadi Hanare, Michaela Turner-Wallace, their skipper, Latita Fupu-Leay, Shayla Williams, Michelle Winder, Renee Smith, Danielle Parker, Nari Borrington, Kanari Magari, Charlie Giles and Charlotte Scott in the 23 coming into this side again. Apologies if I'm slipping the tongue. I've had a full long week at the baseball, Donnie, and I'm a little bit tired. We're going to be leaning on you this afternoon.
Well, we just went through that team list, but there is actually an addition to that Fremantle Roosters team too, with in jersey 14, Tiana Graham. That's a big inclusion for them as well. A premiership winner with the Ellenbrook Rabbitohs. Also won a Tasha Gale Cup premiership over in Sydney with the Illawarra Steelers a few years ago too. So a high quality player for them to be able to bring in. And one of the names that you didn't read out then for South Perth, a scratching in Mel Thomas, who is she's the kind of player that can carry a team on her back and win games basically herself and carry the team along with us. So to have her missing, that's a huge out for South Perth. So a big in for Fremantle and a big out for South Perth. The referees just making their way out into the middle. So we shouldn't be too far away from a start here at the Treeby Community and Sports Centre.
South Perth just finishing their warm-up over in the far corner, trying to keep themselves warm, hydrate. Fremantle Roosters will keep them cold out in the middle just for that extra minute or two, as we know they like to do it. Treeby Community Centre down here. It's fantastic, and it's getting built up now, Donnie, all around here. The drive-in this year compared to late last year, there's actually a lot more coming around. I'm excited to see what they can come up with in the future down here at Treeby. I went the chicken and nuggets tonight. I was a little bit hungry as well, coming straight from the baseball. Could say they were top as, because Steggles, the sponsor, they know what they're doing, supplying the chicken to the venue.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it definitely is an area that is growing very, very quickly. And that's the reason why that the Fremantle Roosters, or the Fremantle Coburn Roosters as they're now known, moved to this area is because of the demographics of this area. It is a fast-growing region, and it's already been enormous for their club in terms of the juniors, and the benefits for Fremantle in the future, just absolutely astronomical playing out of this venue. So they could be anything in years to come. But they're a pretty bright force as it is, as you saw. Sitting on top of the ladder in the women's competition and also the men's competition, unbeaten as well. So they're they really are a wonderful club that's going from strength to strength at the moment.
Now you're going to back the form lines off the back of exactly what you just said. Do I even need a prediction out of you, or are you a Roosters man all the way?
I think the Fremantle side's going to be hard to beat tonight. It's again, you look at the outs, you look at a couple of the scratchings from South Perth and a couple of the ins for Fremantle, and Fremantle looks stronger than they were last week, and South Perth probably look a little weaker, which I think Freo get it done reasonably comfortably in the end, but I expect South Perth to stay with them for a long period of the game.
Underway, Roosters kicking right to left across your screen. Ball picked up 15 metres from South Perth lines, and they'll get us underway with a big hit down the middle. Charging out through the line, Frost Kelamete meets up with a good bit of contact and makes South Perth realise exactly what's in front of them this evening.
Yeah, tentative return from Veronica Alex, a player that I haven't seen too much of before, but she'll need to run it back a little bit harder than that into contact. Otherwise, she's going to get met like that again and again. As we see the Lions taking it up over the halfway line.
Man with the carry. Now flicks out on the left-hand side again. Good chance for Sharp. 2 carries in this set. And they've progressed nicely through this one. Not much in line speed being offered up by the Roosters early here. Short side option and a little grubber through from Paul. Gets picked up right on the sideline, and they'll be 25 metres from their own line. In fact, tackled into touch. A fantastic start by the Lions.
Yeah, that's a great play from South Perth. It's a really good tackle there from Zara Suamili. Taking her into touch and giving them a really good opportunity. A window to play the ball. It's the Lions through Turner Wallace. Just tipping that one on to the very experienced Danielle Parker. Played at the very top level of the game. Turner Wallace again. Ball in 2 hands. The ball hits the deck. They have to go back and clean it up. It's Marangi. Comes back in field after the little bit of sloppy play. Going from dummy half, and second time that she's gone through the middle here, Williams. And again, looking very dangerous. Morangi goes to dummy half. They go to Turner Wallace, and the intercept is taken. The Roosters, she won't have the speed, gives it inside. And hitting the afterburners is Tinney. Tinney, they're coming from behind, but they won't catch her. Dallas Tinney will go the length after the intercept, and the Fremantle Roosters, against the runner play, score the first try of the match.
Gee, that just hurts, Donny. They've done so well to walk all the way from their own 15. They get the turnover after a good set of 6. They work towards the line. They think they're close, and they give away an interception. And you don't have to ask players like Dallas Tinney to run off the shoulder more than once. She'll go all the way and score this one at the opposite end. What hurts a depleted list even more is intercept tries like that. Kick to come.
Yeah, the intercept initially from Cheyenne Carney. Just read the play, saw it coming. Was in the huddle with South Perth when they drew that one up, and she knew she didn't have the pace. Straight away looked around for a support runner. When Dallas Tinney got the ball, I don't think she wanted to run the extra 60 metres herself, but she didn't have much choice, and she had enough speed to get away and get the 4 points.
First up, Atrell with the kicking duties. Relatively straightforward type of kick. Not too much wind about tonight either. This one just pulled straight off the tee though, missing left away. Score's going to remain 4-0 on the Cash Converter scoreboard. So a hot start for both teams. Not exactly where South Perth want to be, but positives to be taken out of those 2 sets.
Well, I mean, effectively, as we have a look at the fuel to go and play replay, with Tinney scoring again, that was more or less the first time Fremantle have touched the football.
Yep.
Well, they got the ball from the kick and went into touch, and that you can't count that. So that's really the first touch of the football, and they've gone the length. They've gone 100 metres to score. So. Yeah, great start for Fremantle.
They're going to soak up every second they possibly can to bring this one back to halfway. And we'll be about 5 minutes into this clash by the time the ball's kicked.
Well, something we saw in last Friday night's game as well, with North Beach being a little bit depleted numbers-wise. They only had 13 players, so they had no bench at all. South Perth, they've got 14, so they'll have one on the bench here tonight. But again, it does make it a real test of fitness, and you've got to try and save your legs wherever you can. As we see Fremantle coming up with an error, Winder picks it up and straight away looking to charge back towards the Fremantle line on the 0 tackle.
Out on the right-hand side, able to just pick it away, Giles. Time to set up the attack. They might find Winder again back on the left. Goes in the back door direction, trying to just take it through the halves. The skipper, Turner Wallace, sets up right in front of the post. 30 out from the line. South Perth, where do they work their magic from here? Switch in, was faked away, hitting a nice 45 angle. Setting up short side. They've got numbers, but Roosters cover the mass across. Gets out wide onto the wing. Tied up. They're going to have to reset from here. They've got one to work with. I would really like to answer back. They're going to kick early on 4, sending it high. Taken just in front of the goals. 1 metre in play. And the Roosters are happy to retire that one and start their set from the middle of the park.
Yeah, so far, South Perth getting through their sets. They're doing the simple things right. Fremantle are putting a lot of pressure on themselves. They're probably trying to be a little bit too tricky and too cute, I suppose, at times, and coming up with a few errors. So they'll just want to get through this set. Get the ball down the other end of the field. They've really had to do a lot of defence early. We see Wallace get out a dummy half. Runs into the shoulder of Fepelouye. Now Atwell, inside play. Read pretty well though, Turner Wallace. The ball's come free. Well, there's a knock on right there at the end. Well, she was complaining about something in the tackle and wasn't taking care of the football.
Yeah, I think everything was all okay. We'll check it out on the fuel to go and play a replay, but I think there was all pretty regulation underneath there, nothing to complain about.
I'm not sure exactly what she was complaining about, but yeah, you'll see right at the end of this. She looks up at the referee looking for some sort of assistance, thinking that maybe that first contact was a little high, but then just gets up and throws the ball free. So might have got a little nudge from Turner Wallace, who's an experienced player.
There's always a little nudge. It's fine.
Well, especially when you've got your captain and your number 7, or it's 7s and 9s. If you see the 7 and the 9 in the tackle, you know that
they're up to something.
They're up to something. There is mischief afoot.
Flat attacking setup for South Perth. 45 from goal. Confusion on when the ball will enter the scrum. Changing the lead foot of the lock, making sure everything's perfect. And we break out on the right-hand side. Good first up carry by Alex. Chance to go short side again, 2 on 2. Now 3 on 2, so they will pick right, going with the halves. Williams accepts the contact and gets a good leg drive on before being shunted back through with 10-8.
I will say Williams has looked the most likely so far from South Perth. Everyone else probably seems a little flat-footed, although a good run there, a good carry there from Smith has caught the Fremantle Roosters on that blind side, really on their heels.
Turner Wallace calling the play. Goes herself, spits a nice gap. Broke the 2 defenders. The offload was good for Giles, but just left behind, and a turnover. Roosters close again, not close enough.
I'd say no advantage there on that occasion.
Yeah.
A knock on both ways, although I think he's saying because this is after the tackle is complete. No, he's going to give the feed to Fremantle, I believe. Just for a second there, I thought he was saying because it was after the tackle was complete that the advantage had been taken, but it will be a Fremantle feed.
Gee, you ratted yourself there, stepping on the cord, didn't you?
Absolutely.
Fremantle freed. Deep in their own half. They're going to pick it off from the base of the scrum. Tinney shows on the outside. Tries to duke through, strong tackling. This is where South Perth have been good early in this, getting up in the face and shifting well. This time shooter comes up and forces contact. A strong leg drive once again. South Perth through Molly Wallace taking on every single bit of this. Short side, jet up, gives it out for Tinney. Switch inside, up to halfway, running into a wall of South Perth. Geez, they're burning early. Oh, good offload underneath. Good chance with numbers out wide. Can they shuffle it through? Carney decides to dip back through the middle. Head-on contact. The new player in Charlotte Scott made the first hit. They somehow offload again, keeping ball alive. Rutene on the outside's got an extra number. They get it through to Price, who pins for the corner. Should be in and is. Well, they've only used one tackle, but they've gone to ground almost 4 times, and the Roosters keeping the ball alive, 8-0 with a kick to come.
The second phase play in that play there from Fremantle was absolutely outstanding. It all started with, I think it was Molly Wallace that went into contact. There was 4 South Perth Lions on her, managed to get the offload away, and then there was Cheyenne Carney involved again heavily, drew in defenders, gets the offload away here. Carney, you see there, getting it out to Rutene. Rutene sums this situation up perfectly and gets it out to Price, who had the wheels to beat Alex over, and brings it around, improves the position for the goal kicker, which after the first strike from Atwell, she needs all the help she can get, because the first one wasn't the best, but basically the same position. So she gets an opportunity to atone for the first kick.
Well, if that one was aiming dead straight down the middle, maybe just go right post this time. Everything will be fine.
Well, what tends to happen with when you get the same kick in the same spot is an overcorrection. So let's see if this one goes across the face.
What's the famous NRL clip? You got to compensate. This one better.
Beautiful.
10-8. Roosters in front.
10-8.
Sorry, 10-0. 8 goes to 10 with 2 extra.
Well, South Perth would love to be 10-8 at the moment.
Well, I think their defence is good. They've got the right idea. Line speed, 2 or 3 or 4 in the tackle. That's just unfortunate to get an arm free 2 times in a row to progress that far up the field. You're going to get shorted with numbers if you get those offloads. That's the way we play.
Yeah, exactly. That was the key to that try was Fremantle able to draw in the South Perth defence on a couple of occasions in a single play, and still it came down to a 2-on-1. It wasn't like there was 4 on none out on this touchline. So they adjusted reasonably well to the second phase, but Fremantle, their execution was brilliant on that occasion and got the job done. Go out to a 10-0 lead.
18 minutes to go in this first half. Just starts to get a little bit more chilly here as the sun is well and truly gone down in Fremantle, well, now Treeby.
It really is in fantastic shape, this ground. We had Magic Round here, of course, last Saturday for the field to go and play men's competition, and the ground's held up amazingly well, probably a little bit better than it did in the NRL Magic Round in Brisbane, where it looked like a bit of a cow paddock by the end of that the 8 games there. But
too much footy. You've got to spread it around. Halfway with South Perth after an error. They're getting plenty of ball and plenty of opportunity, and that's a bustling hit. Penalty's going to go for a high tackle as well. And this is the new player, Charlotte Scott. Thought I saw a 3 before. Maybe that was Somali. Charlotte Scott bustling through. The high contact probably on Heta. First in, just coming with a shoulder. Scott takes another run. Prime attacking position. We've said that before.
Winder through.
Just out of a moment's notice. They're tied up on the ball, but fights it off again. Winder has taken 4 carries already. This time, busts the line. I took my eyes away for a second and she's through.
It was just a hit up, but you looked away for a second.
I was looking at the backs, making sure I had my lineup ready.
But a great try from Michelle Winder. She looked like she was about to do a cartwheel in celebration there as well. Dancing up towards the halfway line. She carries a couple across the try line. Atwell could not stop her. Fist punches the air, and look at that smile. She loves it.
She's gone the 3 celebrations there as well. That's what I love. She's gone fist pump on the ground. She's got up, she's done the ball throw, and then gone with the skip that you've picked up third up. Takes every bit of them.
Well, front rowers, that they don't get to score too many tries, and I doubt that Michelle's Winder's any different. So when you get one, you've got to make sure you get all your celebrations out in one go, because it might be a long time
Bottling
before
them
you
for
get
3
another
years.
one.
10-4, kick in front. Williams with the duties first.
That was a very good 1-2 punch there from South Perth. Charlotte Scott has come off the bench straight onto the field straight away, and what you want when you don't have many bench players is the bench player comes on and has an impact like that. Absolutely sensational. 2 runs in a row from Scott, and then Winder followed it up and really softened up the middle of Fremantle. As we see this try again from Winder, just straight through the middle. Some poor defence there from Header, and a great effort from Atwell, but good determination from Winder to get the ball to the ground, and they're back in this contest now at 10-6.
Yeah, I think Header was expecting to have another player on her shoulder, and they were just both going to hug together, and there's no power in that position if you're going solo. So here we go, game on. 4-point margin all of a sudden. South Perth, they've had more of the attacking ball. They just got to stop the free playing of the Roosters wherever they can. 14:45 to go in the first.
Well, Fremantle have done this to themselves. In all honesty, they've invited South Perth into the game time and time again with mistakes from kickoffs, with mistakes early in their set. They've given South Perth plenty of territory. You feel if they complete their sets, get through their sets, hold on to the ball, then they're probably going to win this by some margin. But at the moment, they're not playing well enough, and they're allowing South Perth into it. As South Perth come up with their own error there. It was a try scorer that puts it down. As Turner Wallace tries to come up with a one-on-one strip, but carried on with it a little bit too long. The penalty goes to Fremantle.
Yeah, I think the difference there, immediately, Winder looked up and saw for the first time tonight line speed from the defence. And that was a little bit of a shock to the system, maybe. And this one was secured on the ground well before the strip
I don't
attempt.
know that she can complain too much about that call, because she did go on for a fair while. It's Weldon. Her first carry of the match, I believe. Fremantle, another golden opportunity. Paul goes out wide to Atwell. Atwell, ball in 2 hands. The defence holds off, and she goes, well, if you're going to leave a hole like that for me, I'm going to take it. And dot down to score a 4-pointer.
Just picked the angle way too early. See, as she gets this at the back, sees up and just goes, whoa, I can change this 45 into a 50-degree angle, then cut back in before the winger. It was a good read and executed perfectly. Didn't need any of the support players around. They were just acting as distractions to keep that defence pulled out. 14-6. Fremantle answer straight back.
Yeah, they've punished the Lions for that error, and it's such a cliche in rugby league after points is must complete after you score points, and every team screams it as they walk up over the halfway line. But there's a reason why it's a cliche, because it is incredibly important to complete your set after points, get the ball down the other end, because otherwise you just allow the opposition to come straight back into it.
Good line, just going to fall short this time. Yeah, my favourite variation of the must complete is 2 minutes. They all just it's 4 minutes into the game, and they just come back to halfway. 2 minutes. Yeah, 2 minutes, boys.
That one's usually after you've made the mistake. You haven't completed. You're like, okay, well, 2 minutes is basically saying all you've got to do is hold on for one set. Hold on for one set, and then we get the ball back.
Back to halfway again. No stranger to seeing a kick-off tonight so far.
There's certainly been a lot of points early in this game, of course, 14 points to 6. Only 18 minutes gone, so going ahead of the clock at the moment. And we've probably wasted a good couple of those minutes with the Lions walking back to the halfway line.
Yeah, they're more than happy to dawdle these ones back up. Scoring their own try wasn't enough rest, so they thought they'd concede another and take a bit more off. Williams to get us back underway. Short one again, finds grass, and it'll get towards the sideline and makes its way over the line. Another uncharacteristic error from the Roosters.
Yeah, just no one up on the sideline at the 10-metre line. Just poor setup, I suppose, from the kickoff.
Are they a bit lackadaisical in defence to start tonight? A team like the Roosters?
Oh, they definitely don't seem as sharp as they need to be. If they're going to, like, they're at the top of the ladder at the moment. If we're talking about them competing with the best teams in this competition, the Ellenbrooks and the Joondalups of the world, then yeah, they're going to have to be a lot sharper than they have been so far in this game. As we see South Perth straight from the scrum win, they throw the ball wide.
Marangi, the one in the contact. Williams shapes this one out left. Good carry again for Scott. Gets the leg drive working all the way through as well. Could be a solid inclusion for the season. Was left off the team list too late. Thrown out left side. Winder takes the second roll. 20 away now. There's a big pod set up on the right-hand side. They're all bunched in together, so they'll use the backs out on the left. Short ball. Cut was really late. Able to get away with it, trying to go through Somali. Crunch backwards, didn't like that one. Fourth here. They'll fade off right. Where do they go? Turner Wallace tries to dish it back on the inside. They play away and Somali's going to end up on the ground again. Ragdoll down, fifth and last. All the backs are on the left-hand side, so they have to keep committing the short side. Wallace, flat ball through the hole. Try. Georgia bet off a brilliant ball from Michaela Turner Wallace. There was nowhere to go outright. Short side 3 times in a row. 14 plays 10 with a kick to come.
Well, that's a really good play from Michaela Turner Wallace, but it's also a really intelligent attack from the South Perth Lions. You mentioned it, you noticed it. They had every single one of their players was stacked on that left-hand short side, so that meant they had the numbers overlap. So it's just a matter of picking the right player that was running the right line, and it was a great line from Georgia Bet to score that try.
I think an accidental stroke of genius there by the entire South Perth Lions attack. Tricky kick this one though. About 8 metres in from touch. Have to give it a fair hoof. No wind to assist. No wind hurting either.
It's actually a tactic back from when I used to play. The North Beach Sea Eagles used to be fantastic at doing it, at stacking one side of the field, because, you know, as a defensive line, you're taught to cover that whole line. If they put all their players on one side of the field, you've got to adjust, and it's not a natural thing for a defensive unit to do. So, you know, they set up really well. The kick is waved away, but 14 points to 10 on the cash converted scoreboard is a really good try. We talk about the poor setup from Fremantle from the kickoff. This was really well set up here by the Lions, and some great ball playing from their halfback and captain in Turner Wallace.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's always going to be a couple of defenders, even if you see all the players out there where you go, well, this is a trick. I'm going to stay out here because I can't get in trouble out here. If I go over there, I might get in trouble. You got to stick to your guns sometimes, and sometimes you just got to go with the flow of the game. 14 points to 10. A high scoring first half. And we're in the single digits now. 7.5 to play. Looks like they're set up to go deep on this kick. Atwell does exactly that. Nice take on the back, almost a forward pass to Winder, smartly avoided. Brought to ground 35 from their own line, and they line up on the right-hand side. Scott gets a lot of room to move this time. Gets through one and then gets the ball dislodged. Referee says play on, lost forward. No strip in there, just a loose carry, but the motivation to break through the line was rock solid. Turnover here, Moorish.
Well, this has been the seesawing pattern of the game so far. One team scores, and straight away the other team responds as Carney runs at Scott. Another good, strong run. She's had a really good start to this game, Cheyenne Carney. Now another run through the middle with Weldon. The Roosters, they look to set up their next attack. Graham at dummy half, goes out the back of Carney. Now across to Tinney. Tinney holds the ball up, and again to Atwell.
Sure.
Atwell gets it wider, and Pico goes across to score out wide, this time on the right-hand side of the field, and Atwell's just creating that extra number for them.
Yeah, this is tremendous on attack. I've still got questions about the defence, but for now we can focus on another good try by the Roosters. Just the show and the go. They've got layers upon layers of options here, and once again, as you said, Atwell just draws in the defence too well. This time it wasn't for her. Just puts Paiku through the gap, and away they go for another try in the corner. They're silky at the moment. They're playing with two rock-solid lines of attack, Donnie, and it seems all pre-rehearsed, like this was standard Tuesday evening training. Not that there's no defense, but the movement of the attacking line has not differed from their original path. There's no free thinking. There's no adjustments. This is exactly how they want to run forward.
Yeah. There was again, really well constructed try. There was some classy stuff there from Dallas Tenney that sort of forced Zara Suamili, who's been one of South Perth's best so far, but forced her to come in off her line, and that created the space out wide that Atwell was able to take advantage of. Once again, the conversion attempt is waved away, but 18 points to 10 on the cash converter scoreboard. About 25 minutes gone. Once again, still staying ahead of the clock, so 28 points in 25 minutes.
We have one more.
It's been exciting.
Yeah, we'll stay in front of the count with one more. Be handy to see as we take a look at the try once again. It's a good show on the inside to get it all started from Tinney. Probably the only marker on it. They were going to get overlapped anyway, but maybe Somali's not coming out of the line there as second last defender with still 2 or 3 on the outside again. Small adjustments though. At some point you've got to bite as a defensive unit and try to shut something down on the inside.
Yeah, and again, whenever you go up and in like that, if you do it isolated, if you're the only one that's doing it, then you're likely to get caught out. You need your centre and winger to be working in tandem in those sorts of situations. They're both coming up and in, then whoever she's going to pass it to is also going to get hit. So yeah, not a lot of communication, and Fremantle, as you said, good enough to take advantage of that situation. Well, let's see if we can get a completed set after points.
Good. Yeah, go.
Carney charges it back for the Roosters up towards the 40-metre line. Looks to get a quick play of the ball. They get on the front foot again. Well, they get that one around from Moorish, an offload, which they've been really good at doing. And the Roosters, they come through one of their Retene into space. That's tapped backwards by South Perth. Tries to put it on the boot. This should be 6 again. Won't need 6 again. No bumping away from players. Getting the ball down towards the line. Quick play the ball here, and it's on for the Roosters. They come back towards the middle. Short runner off the shoulder. And the ball gets to the ground. Well, a try for Taumea in the end for the Roosters. But some fantastic play in the lead-up.
Yeah, just the start from Nina Rutenate. Once she got the ball out wide, yes, they kept it alive, but this initial run, charge up, this is when the try is scored. That initial run from Rutenate just pinned the ears and started bumping tacklers off left and right, able to get the ball on the outside, and the support is there as always from the Roosters. And a fantastic finish there by Tamar. 22-10, and we're beating the clock into half-time. It's a guarantee now. Early payout. What a market that would be.
Tiana Graham takes over the goal kicking duties.
Sore leg out well.
She's had a few attempts. Knocked one over. So she's got the 6 points down on her tally personally of these 22. Tiana Graham moves in. Adds another 2 to the scoreline. And there's 24 points to 10 on the cash converter scoreboard. We get towards that halfway mark. South Perth, they wouldn't want to concede any more points before the break. 2 minutes to go. Normally you'd say, well, they're probably not going to concede anymore, but the way this game is going, 2 minutes is more than enough time to score. As we see this lead-up play from Fremantle, some great work here from Frost Kelamete. I thought she was going to carry Alex across the line, but just finds the ground, gets a good quick play the ball, and then on the following play comes out to Paul. Paul gets it to Taumea off her shoulder, and she's too big, too strong. South Perth, they get plenty of numbers there to try and stop her, but an aggressive put down in the end from Taumea.
Yeah, I thought Shayla Williams had the right idea. She had that last bit of contact there. She didn't go for the body. She knew she wasn't going to win the one-on-one close to the line, so she went ball first. Couldn't get the strip. She realised it was held in there tightly, and then she just held on for dear life and went over the line.
South Perth taking as much time off the clock before the break as they can.
Still going to have to face up for at least half a set here, as they can force the error. This one a bobble up over to the left side again. Plenty of players ready to receive. A good charge back up into the line. Roosters back underway through Carney.
She's been outstanding. I think she's been the best for Fremantle so far in this first half.
Looking fit as well, the way she's got back to her feet every single time, ready to take another. It's a big addition. Another carry on the outside to the try scorer, just gone by.
It was Moorish again there with an offload that created the headaches. Now Tiana Graham gets out a dummy half, gets through the gap. Graham gets the one-handed offload and a try to Retene. She's been involved in a couple of tries, and right on half-time she gets one of her own.
Yeah, that's a lucky offload to say the least, over the top, but the numbers were swarming to make it finish off in the corner. A couple of slip tackles, a great carry, and Retene just in the perfect spot at the perfect time. Scoops it up off the bounce and pins for the corner. 28-10. Kick to come, and that's the half-time siren. So while we wait for the kick, Donnie, can we beat the clock the whole game? Are we going to keep going like this, or do we settle down a little bit after some defensive chats at half-time?
Well, I think both teams will want to talk to their defensive units and maybe change some things up. But I think that will depend largely on the Fremantle Roosters and what sort of mood they're in. I get the feeling that they are a team that could do this all night. They love to have the ball in hands. They look great in attack. When they've got down into the red zone here, they've been almost flawless. Yeah. When they've got down into this part of the field, it's coming out of their own end where they've come up with a few errors. That's probably been their issue. Not a bad strike from Tiana Graham, but just across the face. So we go to the break at 28-10 in favour of the Fremantle Roosters.
Before we go to break, quickly on South Perth, they're low on numbers, so they're only going to get more tired from here. So how do you simplify the defence to either A, stop them getting inside the 20 so they can be silky smooth, or B, what do we do once we end up in the red zone?
Yeah, again, those offloads are the things that have been killing them. It's that second phase play that Fremantle's been able to create. So when you have to come up with that second and third effort, they've got to stop the ball. That's got to be the number one message from the coach at half-time, is you've got to stop the ball. Wrap that ball up, make sure they're not getting those offloads away. That'll make it a little easier if you only have to make one effort every tackle.
Half-time here, 28-10. Fremantle in full control at home. We'll take a short break now and be right back with your second half.